In this series, we're going to be creating an authentication system using Laravel 4, which is a PHP framework. And in this first video, I'm going to go ahead and take a look over exactly what we're going to be building and the features that are going to be contained within this, this system that we'll build. So let's go ahead and take a look. At the moment, this is my navigation system. Everything's very basic, but all the functionality is here. And we have a signifier on the home page which says you are not signed in, because I am not signed in. So within the database, I have this database called auth and a table called users. That's the only table we'll be dealing with here, but there are currently no records in here. So there are no users within this application at the moment. So I'm going to go ahead and create an account. What this is going to do is it's going to email me to actually validate my account. So there is email validation here. And I've set this up just using SMTP email, so it's extremely easy to configure, you know, with your SMTP server. So we'll obviously get to that later when we build it. But I'm going to go ahead and register just with credentials. Everything here is validated, so if I go ahead and type in something that doesn't look quite valid, it'll give me errors back, so the email format is invalid. These are also unique fields as well, so as part of the validation it will check whether these actually exist as well. And obviously we've got things like the password fields. These also have to match, and it's extremely easy to do validation within Laravel. So let's go ahead and actually register a user and head on over to my email client so I can actually validate my account or activate my account. So your account has been created. We've sent you an email to activate your account. You can see here that I've got one email in my inbox. That's just from this app called Auth and with my email address. Obviously this would be different depending on, you know, your application needs and your email address, perhaps a no reply address or something. So it's addressing me by my username, which is cool, and it's giving me a link here to activate my account. So if we head over just to the database before we do anything, you can see that all the data here is stored, including the password. We've also got this sort of temporary code as well in this active field. So at the moment, if I were to go ahead and try and sign in, let's take a look at what happens. Okay, so it says there is a problem signing you in. Have you activated your account? So this will just display whether or not a user is active. It will just you know, validate whether or not the email address and password matched any of the details in here. But the condition is that the account is actually active. So let's go ahead and click this link to actually activate my account. And it now says activated. You can now sign in. So we'll close this window and return to our original. Let's take a look at what's happened within our database. So you can see the code's gone because we don't need that anymore. But because that matched and we found a user with the correct code, this has now set this user to active as 1. So I can go ahead and sign in. Now I also have this remember me functionality. If I tick this, obviously I'm just going to be remembered. It's fairly straightforward. Now that I'm signed in, it's addressing me by my username. So it's saying you are signed in, Alex. And I can do things like change my password. So I can create an old password here. Again, all of this is validated, extremely easy to do. What I can also do is, whether I'm signed in or signed out, I can go ahead and I can access my user profile. Now all this is doing at the moment is outputting my username, but you could output any information that you actually want to store about, you know, relating to a user. So obviously we have sign out functionality, which is fairly useful, and that's terminated my session. If I were to come back a day later, I'd still be logged in because I checked remember me when I signed in. Okay, so the last thing to really go over is the forgot password functionality. Let's say I've forgotten my password. It is in actual fact at the moment just a plain text string password. So when I go ahead and enter my email address, or for example enter an email address that isn't correct, it will tell me. And obviously if the email can't be found, it will also warn as well. So if I go ahead and request a new password, what that's going to do is it's going to send me a new password by email. So if I go back to my inbox, I've got a new email here, your new password, and it says here it looks like you've requested a new password. You'll need to use the following link to activate it. So I can go ahead and copy the new password onto my clipboard just so I've got it ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and click this to activate it. Your account has been recovered and you can sign in with your new password. So everything's temporarily stored in this password temp. We didn't catch it before I activated my new password, but you just saw there my password is now changed. So I can go ahead and sign in now with my email address, and I'll just paste this new password in, click sign in, and I'm signed in. So if I wanted to change that temporary password back to a password that I hopefully can remember, I can go ahead and enter my new password and my new password again, hit change password, and I can go in and sign in with that again. So all of the functionality here would be appropriate for a authentication system in most respects. The only thing that we don't have here is the ability to update profile information, but the point here is that once you understand how to work with Laravel in terms of submitting forms and establishing routes and passing that to a controller to do things from models, it makes it extremely easy to be able to create any form to do anything. So in this video we're going to be learning, or this series, we're going to be learning how we build routes, controllers, views, how we send email, how we do all of these cool things in Laravel that are actually fairly easy to do. So we'll be looking at Laravel's authentication features as well as a variety other of things that will hopefully teach you how to actually work with Laravel so you can go on and extend this authentication system.